Hey, what's up, players? We're going to be talking about the indie game Pseudoregalia. This game came out in 2023, developed by Ritzler. I wonder if Ritzler has any relation to the Wazzler.
Oh, word? Word? He was not trying to have that, huh?
I meant to talk about this game 2 years ago when it was still new, when I played it, but for whatever reason, I don't know, life was just super busy and I never got around to it, but no better time than now. The crazy thing about this game is that it feels nostalgic for a few reasons. For one, being a 3D platformer slash Metroidvania, I love 3D platformers. I'm still fairly new to the whole Metroidvania genre. I haven't played enough games outside Metroid, and I have played Symphony of the Night. I still need to beat that game. Bloodstained, I really enjoy Bloodstained. But what really stood out is just the whole look of the game. For one, you can have the character run at a lower frame rate despite the game running at 60 frames per second, and you can, in the options, change it so that she moves in 60 frames per second along with the rest of the game. But it was a really nice touch. I know for some people that might be a little bit jarring, but to me, I thought it was just a really cool visual touch. Just the whole graphics reminiscing of a N64 game was really cool. Despite the fact that I grew up with a PlayStation and I had most of my N64 experience on actual hardware experience through a family friend who owned one. So, I got the PlayStation, he had the N64, and I would go on to play different N64 games through the Wii Virtual Console, the Nintendo eShops on different consoles, and other means. Anyway, even though I did not grow up with an N64 on actual hardware, this still brings me back to that time, which this game nailed. The story of Pseudoregalia is... Okay, I'll be honest, I've played through this game 2 times now, and I still don't fully understand the story. You play the game as Sybil, I believe that's how her name is pronounced, and she's like a dream guardian, dream traveler, who's in a dream of this princess who is in this castle, and that's literally about as much story as I can really gather. There's probably a whole bunch of lore for this game out there, but yeah, a lot of it isn't told traditionally. There's not a lot of cutscenes or whatnot. It's just mostly gameplay, which I'm okay with. I think this is far more of an interesting game from a gameplay perspective than from a story perspective. Which, speaking of gameplay, dude, let me just tell you, this movement feels crisp, dude. I mean, Sybil can do so many moves, from sliding, being able to do long jumps. She could do like this backwards jump thing. Like if you play the 3D Super Mario game where you move forward and then you press the stick backwards and then jump, that move is in this game as well. You could do a ground pound super jump. She has these wall kicks, which is like a really interesting take on wall jumps. Later on, you get this ability to do a wall slide, which is like the Prince of Persia's wall run on steroids. One of the moves I absolutely loved doing that isn't explained in the game, and I did not watch any speedruns or anyone do this online. I just played around, did this myself. If I watch speedruns, it's probably included. But one of the things I would love doing was doing a slide and then combining the slide with the backwards jump that I mentioned earlier to do a really powerful jump that clears so much distance and gives you so much height. And when you angle it just right, you can clear so much with that. I wouldn't be surprised if you can use that to skip large portions of the game. Alright, so I mentioned the wall kick. The wall kick is a very interesting take on the wall jump that you see in many different 3D platformers. So instead of how a wall jump goes, where typically you jump, press up against the wall, and then you press the jump again to bounce off in the opposite direction or choose which angle to wall jump from. In this game, once you unlock the ability to do a wall kick, how it works is that you make contact with the wall with the kick, so once her foot makes contact with the wall is when she bounces off. You have a certain limit of how many times you can do it. I believe it is 3 at first, but you can find an upgrade to do up to 4 times. I will admit it took a long time for me to get a handle on this. My first time playing through the game 2 years ago, I think it literally took me all the way up until the end of the game to finally understand how do I control the trajectory of my wall kicks, since I'm messing up so many times. Now, with my second playthrough, it admittedly still took me a while because it had been a while since I last played, but I was able to get it a lot quicker. There's no tutorials in the game, you just kind of have to feel out for it. So how the best way to go about it is that you want to lead into the wall. You don't want to press up against the wall and then do the wall kick and treat it as like a wall jump. You want to sort of attack the wall. So you want to press the button a little bit early, and then while the move is active, you connect the wall. And it's depending on how you connect the wall that determines the trajectory of where you bounce off of. If you hit it perpendicular, then you go directly backwards. If you hit it at an angle, then you'll bounce off an angle. They don't explain this in the game. Again, this is something you kind of figure out as you go. But I really love that because it's one of those things where even when I didn't fully understood it, I loved the mechanic. But once I understood how it worked, I just got far more appreciation for it because now I felt like I have full control of the character. The music of this game is so good. It's not a long game by any means, but the tracks that they do have, man, they really hit. It can be anything from catchy to more atmospheric to haunting. There's so much variety, and I love listening to this game on repeat. Combat is pretty simple in this game, and I'll admit it's probably not the strongest aspect, which I think it's fine, because honestly, I feel like the movement and the whole Metroidvania aspect of exploring the castle, finding keys, and unlocking new abilities, that's the game's strongest point, and where they focus more the most. Really, all the enemies are there for are to help refill your gauge that you see here, and to act as platforms, but also there'll be the occasional obstacle. There's gonna be a slight spoiler, not that there's much story to this game in the first place, so if you don't want to be spoiled at all, feel free to skip forward to... There's only 2 bosses in the game. One boss that you fight pretty early on in the game that eventually becomes just a regular enemy that you fight throughout the castle. And then there's the final boss, which is the princess. I haven't played many Metroidvanias, I really need to fix that. But the few that I have played, what I'm used to the structure being is that you defeat a boss and then you either unlock a new ability to explore more of the map, or you unlock a key item or an actual key. But since there's only 2 bosses, you basically just find your power-ups and your keys just by exploring the castle, which on the one hand, because you're just finding new abilities and keys as you're exploring the castle, it does kind of make it feel as if you're truly exploring and discovering new areas and whatnot. I don't know, defeating bosses is kind of like when you defeat a boss and you get a new ability, it makes it feel as if you're getting stronger, but also bosses are a nice set piece. I don't know, bosses kind of help like give you a signpost or a landmark of where you are in relation to other parts of the game. There were definitely a lot of moments where I was kind of lost trying to find where I was. Luckily, during my second playthrough, at some point, they added a map feature. That was not here when the game initially launched, and I managed to make it through a lot of the game without a map, since the game didn't have one. But once it got to like, I think I just needed like 1 or 2 keys left, and I just could not for the life of me remember where I was, or I didn't know where to find them. I just kind of gave up and I looked up a user created map on Steam, but the game has a map feature in the game, which made it a lot easier to explore. Circling back to the combat, I think it would have been nice if there was more feedback for when you're hitting the enemies. They shake when they are attacked, which that is some sort of feedback, but it's kind of crazy that Sybil can get knocked back by the simplest enemy, but for a lot of these enemies, they don't even react at all to getting hit. And honestly, I would still be okay with it, but the thing that kind of threw me off was that when Sybil loses her weapon, it sounds like it is a heavy weapon. Like, listen to this. Bro, that thing sounds like a steel girder. You mean to tell me she is running and jumping and flipping while carrying this thing that sounds incredibly heavy? I don't know, it kind of makes it seem like the enemies should have a little bit more of a reaction getting hit by something that's heavy sounding like that. Honestly, that's the only real criticism I have for the game. The game is super sick otherwise, and as I understand, the game did start off as a game jam submission before the developer decided to expand it into a full game. So hey, the fact that they stuck with it is really cool. Guys, if this game looks interesting to you at all, and you like 3D platformers or Metroidvanias, definitely pick it up. It is not long at all. It's only probably realistically, you can probably be in like 3 to 4 hours, maybe 5 at most. It's not a long game at all, and it's only $6. But seriously, check out this game. It's really dope. Oh, hey, what's the word, players? Sorry I was asleep in front of the camera this entire time. Life's just been very busy, and I have not been catching up on sleep as I should. I don't know why I feel compelled to say this, but if you enjoy Pseudoregalia, I don't know why that game just came to mind. Comment down below if you enjoyed the game, played it, what you thought of it. If you're looking for a non-denominational church, down in the description will be a link to a church locator. Also down there, you'll find a link to 2 Discords, my Discord and the Christian Fighting Game Community Discord. Feel free to check those out if you'd like. Once again, thank you so much for your patience since I last uploaded. I really did not want to take as long as a hiatus as I did, but work's just been crazy, life's been busy, and I recently just got a cat. His name's Cooper. He's really adorable, and it is just a huge transition learning how to be a cat parent. So if you need advice to a new cat owner, feel free to also let me know down below. The new Virtua Fighter gameplay looks super sick. Oh my gosh, Tokyo Game Show cannot come out soon enough so we can see more footage. Okay, I can literally just ramble a whole lot, but maybe I'll just save those for other videos. But thank you so much for watching, y'all. Take care, and until next time, peace.